Hello, my name is Dr. John Haymore. I work in the areas of human resources and workplace violence. I help companies to design training programs so that they better understand the risk of workplace violence, the different types and the different levels. And I've been working with Frank for a couple of years in training and kind of learning some self-defense things.
Absolutely. So when John told me about this event, I was very eager to be a part of it. Very passionate to help people, but especially helping people be able to protect themselves and go home safe at the end of the day, right? So obviously we teach to de-escalate. We don't in a workplace, we don't want there to be a fight. Never encouraging this. But if it gets to that level, having the tools and skills needed to protect yourself and go home safe at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think one of the most important things that I've taken away and also talking to other employees is when they've trained in self-defense, right, and they have a better understanding of what is workplace violence, how does this impact me, hopefully they never use it, but it gives them such a tremendous amount of confidence to at least be able to handle that situation, know that they can get themselves out if in case it does, but also gives them confidence just not to tolerate any level of violence, and maybe to even report it or to stop it before it happens.
Absolutely. Reporting is something that should be done because in most cases, if a superior knows about what's going on, there's a chance that it can end right there.
It can end right there. We're here at the Palm Beach County SHRM conference held in West Palm Beach, Florida. We're going to be presenting today in front of a lot of HR professionals, a lot of HR directors that are interested in keeping their employees and their workplace safe. And I think such an important part of this also is not just keeping employees safe, but it has such a positive effect on the organization's performance, right?
Sure.
People who feel safer at work have that confidence, they perform better, and so it really the outcomes that happen from doing this type of training and developing these types of skills really have a lot of benefit.
Absolutely.
In the last 5 years, getting my PhD, I started in 2018 and made it my focus to look at workplace violence in across multiple different industries and the impact that it has on the organization and its employees. And I'm going to take about 25 minutes or so to go through my slides because I really want to wait and I want to leave enough time at the end for us to do the fun things, the fun stuff, and hopefully it's very interactive and we're going to try to get you out of your seats and participating today. So thank you for being here. I hope that you get a lot out of this. So I want you to imagine, and maybe you've experienced this before, please don't raise your hand, but have you ever had anyone cuss you out? You ever had anybody stalk you, threaten you, abuse you, hurt you? It is a impactful experience if you've ever gone through it. I can speak from experience. I have gone through that, and it sticks with you. It really has an impact on who you are, both personally and professionally. So it meant a lot to me to try to help companies and help employees understand what workplace violence is, and to help companies be able to put training in place that helps their employees overcome and cope with this type of behavior. So what is the definition of workplace violence? According to OSHA, and it may not be exactly what you think, but it is any threat, verbal, psychological, or physical, that happens in the workplace. A lot of times when we think about workplace violence, we're thinking about maybe the worst case scenario of an active shooter, right? And that is oftentimes what we see in the media, that there's been another active shooter. I mean, just in the last 4 weeks, we've seen multiple cases of active shooter. And even when it happens in a school or in a church or in a mall, guess what? That's also a workplace, right? We don't always associate it as such, but there are lots of higher education and education in general is impacted a lot by workplace violence. We deal with this a lot. Healthcare is another industry that deals with this. Hospitality deals with this. And so I want you to understand that workplace violence is not just physical violence or gun violence. It's also the bully manager at work. I'll try to interject some of my consulting experience. I deal with this far too often. Yeah, that's just the way he is. And we just work around it. That's a mistake. It's impacting your employees, it's impacting the team, it's impacting the organization, not to mention what this individual has to go home and live with every night and the trauma that it's also causing them. So I want you to, it ranges from threats and verbal abuse to physical assault and even homicide. Now, forgive me, I'm going to go through this really fast again because I have lots of slides. If you want a more detailed explanation, presentation of the data, of all the slides, please watch the video. Frank and I put a video together through the portal, and it goes into a lot more detail than I'll be able to do here. But this is amazing. I pulled this chart off of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and it shows, look, from 2011 to 2018, the incidents of workplace violence are rising. And represented in red is healthcare, and represented in blue are all the other industries. The unfortunate thing about type 2, and if you ask people in healthcare or maybe even in certain other industries, we kind of excuse this as, well, it's part of the job. You'll hear that a lot from employees. It's just part of the job. It's just part of the job. So that is an excuse that that we really should not overlook. You know, that it does still have an impact, and while it might be part of the job, maybe it raises your chances for experience. An estimated 48.6 million Americans are bullied at work. The prevalence of bullying, according to Purdue, is up 57% since 2017. So again, more and more data out there saying that this is a problem in our workplaces. How many of you, though? Well, how many of you have ever attended a conference where workplace violence was a topic? Okay, handful. Not enough. One of the reasons why Frank and I wanted to put it together is that we don't attend enough training. We don't actually talk about it enough, which is even more reason why we need to bring it up. So I go through each one of those in more detail on the video. Now, level 3, physical assault. There were 480 workplace homicides in 2021. That is up from 392 in 2020. I did not find the data on 2022, but you can see kind of the breakdown based on selected occupational group. Now, some of these happen because you're working a cash register at a gas station and it's robbed and someone is shot, but that's workplace violence. Other times it's an active shooter. It's that disgruntled employee that was let go on Friday and now they're coming back to work, right? So you can see that physical assault, at least homicide, has gone up. Now, this one's amazing, and why we're doing our presentation. One of the reasons, I'm sorry, I'm one slide behind. Of the 392 in 2020, 81% were men. All right, so more men are killed at work. However, more women deal with the aftermath and trauma from workplace violence, which we'll see in just a second. This one really stunned me. There are approximately 37,000 non-fatal injuries in the workplace resulting from an intentional injury by another person in 2020. 37,000. All right. Now, these are the ones that are reported. Right. One of the major problems with workplace violence of any level is not reported. Like OSHA estimates how much workplace violence happens. They will, and I'm probably getting ahead of myself, they'll say somewhere around 2 million, 2.5 million people. To be honest with you, don't really know because it's not always reported to the workplace. That's something else, if you can take away, that we need to improve. We need people feeling comfortable enough, confident enough in the company and in the system that they will actually report it so that you can do something about it. I don't want you to think that this presentation is to convince you that getting in a fight at work is the best scenario. That is not the case, and I hopefully nobody would walk away thinking that. If there is a way for you to de-escalate the situation, de-escalate the situation. Number one, try to remain calm. It's not going to help if you raise your energy level and your aggression level to match the person's, thinking that they're going to back off. If this person's already there and they're at work, they're probably willing to do just about anything, right? So it's probably just going to escalate it. Number two, realize that people are probably going through things in their lives that you're not aware of. A lot of times we see divorce, bankruptcy, loss of job, loss of a significant other. People are feeling the strain, they're acting out at work. Most of the time, people simply want to be heard, right? They may not agree with you, but if they feel like they're not getting anywhere with you, that really upsets them. So try to save people's dignity, try to hear them, try to really understand where they're coming from. I made the mistake one time of dismissing someone by myself and in my office, and the way that my office was situated is in a very small room with one door, no windows, and the person got very upset and then started, kind of a tirade. It never got physical, but he was cussing and he was not happy that he was being let go. And I realized, I've got myself into a pin in a situation. So I learned a valuable lesson. Don't ever lock yourself in a room with somebody that you are disciplining or that you are dismissing. Always have another manager there. But don't put them down in front of everybody else, right? By embarrassing them, it's only going to escalate things even worse. So try to pull them aside, allow yourself multiple ways out, bring in another manager. And I want, if you're willing, we'd love some volunteers, but we want everybody to kind of stand up and practice some of the things that Frank is going to show us, all right?
Picking up with that level 3 escalation, right? We already tried to de-escalate, we already tried to avoid the situation, but it's here, it's there in our face, right? So whatever scenario you can put yourself in right now, whether it's directly in the workplace, in the parking lot, anywhere. So what I want to talk about first is getting into a ready stance or ready position. So in martial arts, there's a fighting stance, right? You're actually squared up, ready to go. Well, doing this is a sign of aggression, right? We don't want to do this. We want to be standing here kind of like how I am right now. It's not aggressive at all, but I have a bladed stance, right? Meaning I have my strong side behind me. I have my hands near me and I'm talking with my hands. It's casual, but my hands are halfway to my face to protect, halfway to be able to attack, and in certain situations, halfway to be able to deploy a weapon. So the ready position is where we want to be when there's a potential threat. Someone comes up to you, they're arguing with you, you just stand like this. So from that position, we're gonna go over some basic strikes. So the first one that I wanna do is called the throat strike. So we have to understand that when put in a situation, we have to attack vulnerable areas. We can't fight fair. It just doesn't make sense. If somebody is bigger and stronger and they work out and they're angry and you're trying to fight them using rules that you would find in, a boxing match, can't hit below the belt, can't do this and that. Unless your attributes are equal or greater than them, you have a very low chance. So we have to hit vulnerable areas. The neck, the eyes, the ears. I'll explain the ears. It doesn't sound like much can happen there, but definitely can. The groin. So being able to attack vulnerable areas. So the first thing from that ready position is the throat strike. All right, so I'll demonstrate a couple times what I call shadow boxing, right, in the air, and then I'll demonstrate on John so that you can actually see how it would work. So,
are you guys interested in standing up and trying this?
Yeah.
Yes. All right, let's do it.
all right, excellent. Okay, so, no, thank you. If you are left-handed, raise your hand. One,
okay, 1 or 2.
All right, and that is the statistics behind it, because a lot of times when we do weapons training, the attacker's likely going to be right-handed, so preparing for that more. But in this instance, most of us who are right-handed, we're going to have the right leg behind us, and the hands are up like this. So as a lefty, you guys are basically doing it backwards. So the lefty will have the right leg forward, hands in front, okay? So I'm going to demonstrate as a righty. So the first thing is the throat strike. I'm going to make the letter L with my left hand, and all I'm doing is extending straight out under the chin, striking the throat. So when I do this, I'm not going to hit it. Although John is tough, he can take it. All right, so let's just turn this way so everybody can see. All right, so once again, picture that scenario in your mind, wherever it is, whenever it is, whoever it is. I'm standing here. Now, understanding distance is important. If I'm already within range, this can be done quickly. Maybe I'm a little bit further back, which is not a bad thing, but John starts walking towards me, and as he does that, I throat strike. Now, I did that to his collarbone, but in reality, it's going straight to the throat. Now, I don't want to just stop when I hit him. I want to extend my arm as far as it will go. Get as much reach as you can on that. Now, if you notice where my right hand is, as I do this, my right hand stays up. It actually, if this is my ready position, as I attack him, the right hand actually comes up higher. So number one, if I have to block, I can, but it's gonna set up the next strike, as opposed to I do this and I lose that hand, okay? So the throat strike, the objective of that is to repel the attacker. When you hit them hard enough, chances are, even if they're bigger, they're gonna be pushed back a little bit. If that happens, and you have, exactly, and you have a place to go, you wanna get out. That's your objective. So I train a lot of different people. Some are security professionals, some are law enforcement, some are just people who are bored. They just wanna do something. Everybody has a different objective. For example, for, let's say, a security officer, they may have to restrain the person. They can't run. They're the ones that we need here. Same thing with law enforcement. So if you have the ability to go, that's what you want to do. You hit, you create space, you're gone. So before I said you have to hit the vulnerable areas, the neck, the eyes, the groin, the nose, the ears. Why the ears though? What does that mean? You're gonna pull it? So what happens is, this is done, once again, understanding distance. I'm not gonna lunge forward and try to do this. The person's already in my face. And maybe I either forgot or I chose not to do a strike already. Maybe even he grabs onto my shirt and I can't run away. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna box his ears. So what I do is, as I'm doing this, I'm gonna do it a little bit lower for now. I'm doing boom. John didn't have enough coffee this morning. I had to wake him up. Woo! I'm gonna box the ears. What I just did there, they kind of, got his attention, is gonna be here. The reason for that is, it's likely going to rupture his eardrums. But the benefit of this is equilibrium, his balance is off. So you have someone who is bigger, who is stronger, you do this, and now everything else they do is not as effective. Right? So that's a very good, this can be an attacking kick, or it can be a defending kick. So I'm gonna show you the defensive way first. If we have a little bit more space, right? And I'm telling John, stay there, but he doesn't listen to me. So he's coming in on me, and I kick him coming forward like this. It doesn't take much skill, which is good. Some kicks might require a pivot and some more balance. All I'm doing is as if I'm taking a big step over something. My toes point to the outside, and I'm extending forward. Now this can be done. It can be done to their hip. It can be done to their quad muscle. And for more damage, for self-defense, it can be done to the knee. So not that motion of my foot, and I wouldn't do that if they're walking in on me, but if he's standing still, then absolutely straight up the middle. Absolutely. So doing this kick, we call this the oblique kick. Doing that motion, at the bare minimum, with force, it's going to stop them for a moment, allowing you to either follow up or get out. The best case in a worst case situation is you're gonna damage the knee so that they cannot continue their attack. Like, even though John is strong, he works out daily. When I do this, there's zero strength. I'll just make spaghetti arms. All I'm doing is this. His wrist is bending.
I can't hold it.
And even if this hand is still there, zero strength needed to do that. Now maybe you just want to go, okay, push him and run. but following up with a couple more strikes. There is no strength needed in that, what I call unplugging the arm.
So just put your arm up, turn.
All right, so everything we did so far is face to face. So having situational awareness, being able to see the person is key. You have to. But somehow, maybe we're having a face-to-face and they're not aggressive now, and then I turn to get a paper or something, and then just comes out. So this hand right there is the one we have to worry about. So here's what I mean by that. Let me show. If I do this just with one arm, okay, I can get a little bit of pressure on this. But if I'm able to use that other arm, it locks things in. It's a dangerous position. So we need early identification. That means we can't wait and say, hey, can you take your hands off me, please? We gotta move quick. So I'm grabbing something, John comes up. Immediately I have to grab and tuck my chin. So now he might be struggling with that left hand, and here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hit. I won't hit him like I hit him before. Left hand is loose, and it's a groin hit straight forward. I'm not aiming, but look what I do. I push my hips to the side so I have a little bit of space.
And I'm just natural.
Right?
There, right?
He's there. So left hand hits. It can't hurt to hit twice. Here's an elbow. Maybe he blocked the first one, right? So hit, hit. Now watch what I'm doing. I need to face him. I'm going to raise this shoulder up to create space, and I'm turning this way. I can hit him, push him, kick him, and get out. The main thing is you have to act quick, and you have to turn to face them. One thing that I go by is, if you're not hitting, you're moving. If you're not moving, you're hitting. If I find myself stuck when I'm here, and I did good with this, but I'm just kind of struggling, I need to hit. I need to hit. I need to hit. I can stomp on his foot. I can even bite his arm, right? But the whole time I'm trying to move. If I'm not moving, I'm hitting. If I am able to move, I'm going to move. I stop moving, I hit. There should never be a time where you're just still. You have to do something. If you like what you saw, please consider subscribing to our YouTube page, as well as follow our other social media accounts. Please share this video with a friend as well. If you are looking for training like this for your organization, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. The next slide will have our contact information. You can take a screenshot of it. We will also put our contact information in the description of this video. Thank you for watching.